Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself. Our content is designed to uplift your spirit and enrich your life. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay connected with this incredible journey. Click the subscribe button below.
When you think about the Bhagavad Gita, who teaches the Bhagavad Gita? Krishna. He is not a monk. Where is he teaching it? On the battlefield, not in an ashram or the Vedanta society. Whom is he teaching it to? Not to a monk or not to somebody who joined a yoga studio. He's teaching it to a person in crisis, an administrator, a king, Arjuna. Swami Vivekananda says, if those people found it worth their while to cultivate this philosophy of Vedanta, we too can do it. How much more so that we can do it? We have, Swami Vivekananda says, compared to Arjuna and Krishna, we have all the time in the world. He says, we have so much time on our hands. If we put our mind to it, we have got enough time to practice 500 or 200 ideals in our lives. So, the Bhagavad Gita, when you look at the Bhagavad Gita, it is a call to action. It is not airy metaphysics. It is not just withdrawing and meditation. All of that is there. Philosophy is there, meditation is there, everything is there, but it is primarily a call to action. Bhagavad Gita is a call to action. What kind of action? Not the kind we are used to. That's very interesting. The philosophy of action in Vedanta. Inaction is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita. Withdrawing from action, running away from the world, which is what Arjuna wanted to do. Krishna told him, see, if you run away from action, what will happen is, you go and sit and you pretend to meditate in the Himalayas, your mind will be dwelling on the world. What happened to the battle after I ran away? Who got the kingdom? Who won the war? You cannot but think of that, because you have not yet transcended action. The way is not to run away from action. The way also is not action with passion, with desire, which is why most of us act, which is why Arjuna was there in the first place. The prince was there to fight the battle, to take revenge on the villains, to take the kingdom which was rightfully his. So those are all worldly goals. Now, Krishna says, that too is not action, because that action will bind you to this world. Moment we act with desire, we will get the consequences. If we overstep the limits of morality, immorality, that is called adharma in Sanskrit. And the result of that is dukkha, suffering. If we act within the bounds of morality, even then the result will be what you call sukha, happiness. But that also binds us. Swami Vivekananda says, chains, though they be of gold, are not less strong to bind. Even good action binds you to this world. The way is to transcend action, not by inaction, not by action with desire, but Krishna teaches action without desire. When we perform action not for our selfish ends, when we perform action for the welfare of the world, because it is the thing to do, it is the right thing to do, the good thing to do, the loving thing to do, without anything to gain from it for ourselves, Krishna says that is action. He defines yoga, not tying yourself up into knots. There's a cartoon of a person in a yoga studio. He's demonstrating what he learned in the yoga studio. So he goes into a particularly complicated asana and he shows off. And the people around him are admiring. That's wonderful. And after some time he says, okay, you can stop doing it now. And then that person says, well, I didn't learn how to stop doing it. I don't know how to come out of this now. Krishna defines yoga as skill in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. What would you mean by skill in action? Not what we would normally think as skill in action. Doing things expertly. Shankaracharya in his commentary says, skill in action is that action which normally binds us to this world, we perform the action in such a way that that same action will set us free. That action which the ordinary person is bound by, how do you perform that so that that very action sets you free? That is skill in action. And how do you do that? You do that by performing action for the welfare of others, for action as a worship of God. You worship God in the temple with flowers and incense and food offerings and whatnot. You worship God, as we just heard, the beautiful choir sang this, the living God. Worship the living God. So worship God in your business, at home, in the school, in your family, everywhere. You can worship the living God. How do you do that? That is the theme of the Bhagavad Gita. There's also the theme of practical Vedanta. Disinterested action. I know the question which is there in your minds, and that's the question which was there in my mind also when I heard about this. See, one thing constantly nags us a little bit. It sounds good, but the thing is, why would I do anything if I don't have anything to gain out of it? I mean, I might force myself to do it because it sounds good, it's a nice idea, but still, would there be any real motive power behind it? Would my heart be in it if I don't really want anything out of it? So I had this question. And there's a very senior Swami who has passed away now, Swami Ananyananda. He was in Delhi, Ramakrishna Mission. I was a new brahmachari, a novice. I had joined, it was 21 years ago. And I was visiting New Delhi ashram, and I was escorting the old Swami. He had a bad knee. So I was escorting him from the temple to his room in the evening, just before meditation. And as we walked down, I asked this question. Why should people do anything if they don't have anything to gain from it? If they don't have any interest in it? He didn't say anything. As we walked into his room, he turned around, and just before closing the door, he looked at me and smiled and said this, I can never forget it. It's the solution to this, the answer to this question. So precise. Just a phrase. He smiled at me and he said, disinterested action, my boy, not uninterested action. In English, if you look at the dictionary, lack of interest, there are two words, disinterested and uninterested. Uninterested means I have no interest in it. I mean, I do it in a lackadaisical manner just because I have to do it, I'm being pushed to do it. I don't really like doing it. There's no enthusiasm. Disinterested action is a very interesting word. It means the party who has no personal motive or interest in it. He may have all the enthusiasm, but nothing personal to gain from it. No personal axe to grind there. That is disinterested action. So there can be tremendous enthusiasm, and there should be. There should be love and enthusiasm in service, but no particular personal gain from it. In fact, we should make sure that we are not gaining something personal from it. So that is the idea. Another question. Swami, that's okay for you. You are a monk, so you don't have a salary or something like that. You don't take anything for your action. But we work in the world. So when a teacher in a school asked me, I teach and I get my salary from that, and I need my salary. So if I do that work and I take the salary, doesn't it become work with desire? And the answer is very simple. What is the purpose behind that work? Is the purpose the money itself? You need the money. When you work, you will get money. Why not? We need money too. You'll find out when you leave. You're encouraged to donate. So that does not make it work with desire. What makes it work with desire is the attitude behind it. And that brings us to a very interesting thing I learned from a Swami in Haridwar, on the bank of the Ganges. He said something very beautiful. He said, in our lives, in human life, there are three streams. In Hindi, he said, teen dhara hai. Three streams flow through us all the time. The stream of knowledge, jnana, the stream of action, karma, and another word he used, a Sanskrit word, bhavadhara. Bhava can be inadequately translated as attitude. So, knowledge, work, and attitude. He said, I am not interested in what you know. I am not interested in what you do. Tell me what is your bhava, what is your attitude. And then to explain, he said, what makes a difference in spiritual life is not what you know. It's not even what you do. It's why you do it. What is the purpose behind action? And there's some beautiful examples. A person may be a pandit, may be learned in the scriptures. And he may be doing this very religious work of worshipping in a temple, maybe a pujari, a priest in a temple. So the work that he's doing is religious. He's learning, his knowledge is also scriptural, religious. But suppose when he's performing the worship, all he's thinking about is, so how much will the collection be today? And with that money I have to put a new roof on my house and put my children into a better school. Now the bhava, the stream of the attitude, the stream there, it is flowing straight to the world. He said in Hindi, uska bhava samsar ki or hai. His bhava is towards samsara, towards the world. What will he get? His knowledge is religious. His actions are religious. Bhava is samsara. What will he attain? He will attain samsara. He will attain samsara. From birth to death he will go. The Upanishad says, Mrityu samutyum apnoti. He goes from death to death. And there was this an example, a real example, not a hypothetical example. There was this person who is to sweep the Holy Mother's house in Jairambati. And I have heard this story from a senior Swami. He used to sweep. And all the Swamis knew him. One day, the old man did not come. And then they heard he was ill. The Swami in charge of the ashram called him and said, you need not come anymore, sir. We will send the little bit you earned, we'll send it to your house. You are old, you retired now. And that old man said, no, Swami, don't do this. Many, many years ago when I was a little boy, I used to do this same work, a young boy. And the Holy Mother was living here. And I used to see so many people coming here, getting initiated by her, people going into ecstasy, talk about the vision of God and so many things. And a little boy, and I was curious and I wanted it too. And one day I asked the Holy Mother, Mother, will I not get anything? And she said, of course, my boy, you will get everything. But you go on doing this work. This work which you are doing, you go on doing it. And he said, so I do it, not for the money you pay me. I do it as a worship of the Holy Mother. I do it because that lady had told me to do it so many decades ago. So please let me do it. And he went on doing it till one day he really could not come again. His daughter came and the Swamis went to his bedside where the old man lay dying. And the story goes that at the point of death, he had a vision of the Holy Mother, the Divine Mother, that you have not forgotten me, you have come for me. So, bhava. What was his knowledge? I don't think he had even passed high school. What was the work that he was doing? He was sweeping, not even the temple, outside the temple. This is a janitor. But bhava, the attitude, what was he doing it for? He was doing it for God. And what will he attain? Not samsara. He will attain God. That reminds me, though it's not exactly this sort, but the attitude is similar. It seems in NASA, when NASA was getting ready for the first the moon mission, President Kennedy, who had promised that we shall put a man on the moon in 10 years, he came to visit NASA in one of his several inspection tours. So he came to visit NASA and he was being escorted around, shown the preparations and meeting people. And there was this janitor who was standing there. And the President of the United States walked past him and looked at him, came forward to shake hands with him and said, my man, what do you do here? And the janitor said, sir, I am trying to put a man on the moon. You see? That is the sense of what I am doing. And it's true. You're part of that. Similarly, whatever we do in life, we can convert that into worship of God. Hence Vedanta becomes practical. Swami Vivekananda says, where are these two tendencies in our life? He gives a caution, a warning here. Two tendencies in our life. One tendency is to drag the ideal down to our life. The other tendency is to elevate the life to the ideal. And then Swamiji says, the first one is the great temptation of our lives. Anytime anybody comes with an easy religion, says what we want in life, what we desire in life, if somebody says that is good enough and that is religion and makes excuses for us, we are all ready to accept him. That kind of religion, that kind of teaching easily finds large numbers of followers. But in the long run, that will lead nowhere. What we need to do, Swami Vivekananda says, is to struggle to raise our life to the ideal. And he says, Vedanta is practical in the second sense. It is practical in the sense of the ideal, not practical in the sense of a compromise. He says, normally, what we mean by practical is the things which we like, we consider that to be practical. What we like doing, we consider that as something practical. He says to the shoemaker, there is nothing as practical as making shoes, nothing as great as leather. And he says to the thief, there is nothing more practical than stealing. It's true. And the second thing is, he says, not only what we like doing, what we can do, what we are accustomed to doing, what we find easy and natural to us, that's what we consider practical. Swami Vivekananda says, Vedanta, however, is practical in the sense of the ideal. To attain to the ideal and manifest it in our lives, that's the sense in which Vedanta is practical. Now comes the last great point. Swami Vivekananda says, if your reality is God and my reality is God, then everybody else's reality is God too. How do we relate to them? Swami Vivekananda says, never approach anyone or anything except as God. What a powerful sentence. It's a mantra. The people we approach in life, the situations we approach in life, whether it's physical health or a job situation or a frustration in a relationship or whatever, the good or the bad, whatever, all of that, Swami Vivekananda says, never approach anything except as God. It is God which is appearing, Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss, appearing in all those forms. The moment you approach people in that sense, our approach automatically will be worship. And worship, the expression of worship is service. The expression of love is service. So the service to living beings, knowing them to be God. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva is a formula Swami Vivekananda learned from Sri Ramakrishna. You worship God in the ignorant by teaching, by education. You worship God in the hungry by giving food. You worship God in the sick by giving medical treatment. In our hospital in Benares, I haven't seen this myself, but I gather there is a day in which all the doctors and nurses and the monks, they go to the patients and physically worship them with flowers. Yes, as a symbol to remind themselves and remind everybody else what is going on here. Of course, rest of the year, I'm sure they give injections and medicines and things like that. You can't keep giving flowers to a sick person. But the idea is converting medical treatment into spiritual practice, education into spiritual practice, relief activities in floods and disasters and earthquakes into spiritual practice. We are not helping a person. It's a privilege to be able to do that because God has given us that opportunity to serve others. If I give time and money and service, isn't it so much less for me? Swami Vivekananda is harsh on this kind of thinking. He says, give, for it will be taken from you. What nature has given to us, it will take away very, very soon. It will take away. It will take away money, it will take away health, it will take away life itself. Before it is snatched from us, snatched from our claws, let our hands turn this way, let it flow. And when we'll give, Swami Vivekananda says, do not look back upon what you have given. To gloat over, I've given so much. If you look back upon what you have given, your ocean becomes a drop. There was this boy who came to Swami Vivekananda in Calcutta. Swamiji, I close the doors and windows of my room and I sit and meditate but I have no peace of mind. Swami Vivekananda thundered, my boy, if you know what is good for you, you will open the doors and windows of your house. Go out, look at the people who are suffering, the sick, the ignorant. Help them, serve them. You will find peace of mind. The boy was not convinced. He said, if I serve the sick, won't I get infected? And Swami Vivekananda was furious. He says, there is no salvation for one such as this, The one who shall lose his life for the sake of God shall gain life. The one who seeks to protect life, to cling on to life, shall lose life. Our true life is infinite. Swami Ramakrishna, who was in our ashram, who set up the ashram in Chennai, in Madras, he had a very hard time of it in South India at that time. So much struggle. Sister Devamata, she went from America and she stayed in the monastery for some time watching Swami Ramakrishna. One day she was listening to him speaking about the struggles in his life. And Sister Devamata writes in her memoirs, I felt so indignant that a saintly soul like the Swami had to undergo so much suffering. And she said, I couldn't restrain myself and I said to Swami, Swami, why must you suffer? The Swami immediately said, what are you saying? My true life is infinite. This little life belongs to the Lord. Let him play with it as he will. It's not just poetry. It's not just rhetoric. It's not just a nice theory. Vedanta claims it will show it to you to the point where even the most skeptical, the most agnostic, the most materialistic, reductive scientist also will say, I'm not convinced, but I cannot deny it. One last point, how do we come to this? And Swami Vivekananda says, there are these 3 stages, the Upanishads talk about it. Listen to these truths. Dwell upon these truths. Meditate deeply upon these truths. Do not rush to put it into practice. People say that, Swami, I liked it when you said all this, but the moment I go back out of the center into the freeway 101 and there's a traffic problem, I forget that I am existence, consciousness, bliss. It all disappears. Don't rush into practice. Swami Vivekananda says, listen to this again and again, think well upon it. Tell yourself again and again, I am that existence, consciousness, bliss, till it tingles with every drop of your blood. Out of the fullness of the heart, not only words come, Swami Vivekananda says, out of the fullness of the heart, actions will come. Naturally, then you will act from your conviction. Then it will be easy. So, hearing and studying these truths consistently, systematically, and working out all doubts. Mind will throw up doubts. So those I'll announce beforehand. I'm sure you have doubts. After the talk, we will go to the greenhouse, the living room there, and we can have question answers after this talk. And after being convinced about it, meditate deeply upon it and try to live up to it in your life. Then you will find that we will find in our lives it becomes a living reality. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda. May these ideals become living realities in this very life itself.
Become Swami Vivekananda's messenger. Share the video with 3 of your friends.